How's it going, everybody? When I recently mentioned that a few characters have gotten small buffs that would elevate them, most of you were surprised about Griffin. Nobody really batted an eye when I said Warmonger. Whether that was because all of you already knew, or that nobody cares about the hero, well, we'll figure that out today, because I want to talk about her in this video. When a character has a meteoric rise, then it oftentimes doesn't bode well for the longevity of that viability. Complaints arise quickly, and it is also often rooted in some truth. Something's extremely overtuned or broken in some other sense. Usually leads to a spectacular fall back into obscurity. But when a character gets small incremental buffs, here a little bit, there a little bit, and nobody really notices right away how strong something is, well, that often leads to a long stay in the meta. Maybe not necessarily at the very top, but that character can usually hang. A perfect example over the years for this is Warlord. Whenever you think he's out, he somehow sneaks back in after a few weeks. People realize that his kit is still very solid. We've seen it time and time again with him. Despite not having any gimmick, for the lack of a better word, his kit is just really solid. Maybe it's the excessive frame advantage, I don't know. But this video is not about Warlord, but Warmonger. Let's look at the recent changes and see what exactly elevates her to her current position. Because at the end of the day, she is still a charged bash hero. Charged bashes can be strong, but the era when they dominated, well, that one is clearly over. People have fought those mix-ups hundreds if not thousands of times, and they do have many options of how to deal with them. Not only that, they also tend to be highly punishable if you make the right read against them. The other three heroes have also gotten buffs to their charged bash mix-ups. Warden has gotten new chains into it. Centurion constantly gets his numbers adjusted, whether that is a good thing or not we'll talk about another day, and Itukiri has high damage on all options. Warmonger might feel left behind here actually. I don't think there have been any major changes to the mix-up itself since her release. But it's not the charge bash mix-up that all of a sudden boosted her viability. You might even say it's holding her back, but who knows. So let's not beat around the bush. The biggest change was to her dodge attack. I don't think I'm exaggerating when I say that it probably was the worst dodge attack out there previously. It was probably intentionally given shit numbers because of the fact that it was unblockable. But that is far from the truth now. It turned into quite the formidable dodge attack. Stock numbers real quick. It's a 900 ms move and has an input window of 300 to 500 ms into the dodge, which makes the input window different than the new standardized value of 200 to 400 from pretty much all the other dodge attacks. Furthermore, as already mentioned, it is unblockable and it causes medium hit stun. Now here is the massive change that made it so powerful, or maybe even annoying depending on how you look at it. It has gotten extended iframes from 100 ms to 500 ms into the move. Now if I'm understanding this right, you first have some iframes from the dodge itself, then 100 ms of no iframes, and then another 400 ms of iframes. In short, you do avoid a ton of things with the move. And I do mean a ton. If you delay properly and dodge at the correct timing, entire charged attack mix-ups are negated. Same goes for in-chain bashes on some heroes. On the flip side, the guard break vulnerability of the dodge attack is very high. But it is a feintable dodge attack after all, and that's how it's supposed to be. This one is not made to avoid the feint to guard break option with it. I know that this topic is a rabbit hole, so we're not gonna go to Wonderland today, maybe another time. She still has Praying Claw after all, so mix those moves up accordingly, depending on what you expect your opponent is going to do, which is often easier said than done, because for that to be a viable approach, your opponent also needs to understand what the fuck they're doing. Not often the case. So all her dodge attacks are unblockable and feintable, offering different amount of iframes and also different amounts of guard break vulnerability. This gives her the versatility to choose whatever's needed against specific opponents, but let's also not kid ourselves. It's very much the extended iframes on the dodge heavy that helped her out a ton. Also the fact that it's unblockable and has a decent hitbox. It's not like JJ or TMD where you can just let them do the dodge attack and you block whatever's coming out. The very nature of an unblockable already puts more pressure on you. You need to decide whether you want to parry it or not. And especially in team fights where she dances around with her 5 million iframes, this isn't an easy decision as a defender. And right now I don't think anyone has put any time into practicing reacting to the animation. I've always heard that it's very distinct and easy to react to, but people also like to talk big. I'll wait with my judgment until I've seen people shut her down in actual tournament scenarios, because I also think that she is making her way into some compositions. Maybe not the first comp, but second, third maybe. She certainly can find a place. Moving on to the heavy finisher. Those have recently gotten the hitboxes and trajectories buffed. And one thing that we can't forget here is that Warmonger has had hype armor on a lot of moves, from the very beginning. Charge bash, follow up on the bash, and also these heavy finishes. And that hype armor startup is 100 MS nowadays, the earliest character can ask for. I don't think we have any instant startup anymore, so 100 MS into a move is the earliest you can get it. So she now has what every team fighter wants, hype armored side heavies with good hitboxes. We're not talking Magi level here, far from it actually, but they are still solid. Notice how all of these tools that I've listed so far have nothing to do with her charge bash mix-up, because charge bashes aren't really something you want in a non-1v1 scenario. The fact that she now has functioning tools besides the charge bash, in particular tools that work in team fights, that work when outnumbered, that is the reason why she's gaining popularity and viability. She's becoming more versatile and is given the options to deal with more things. Being a specialist in one area isn't enough anymore nowadays. People obviously feel different about this statement, but at the end of the day, if a character is only pickable in one mode, and God forbid that character is popular, then it rubs many people the wrong way. At the same time, if a character outperforms others in every single aspect, that's not great either. Alright, so I don't know whether I really need to go over Warmonger's feats here. You all know that feats play a huge role when it comes to the viability of a hero. She's still the queen of breach on the attacker side, and she can decide entire team fights with the tier 4. But other tier 4s can certainly do the same. People have learned how to deal with infection. Maybe we'll see some creative use of it in future tournaments. To sum it up, Warmonger has an insane dodge attack now. You guys decide whether you want to call it her new gimmick. But it was a last little puzzle piece to complete her kit. I don't really want to use the word complete, but you get the idea. What's your view on Warmonger right now? Have you fought many in the last few weeks? Is she annoying now, or do you still have an easy time dealing with her? Let me know down below. Having said that, I hope the video was interesting. Thanks for watching. Laters everybody. Oh my god.
And I'm dead.
Would you like the 0 MS data?
Oh my god.